What is up, everybody? This is a very special video. I am going to be answering some questions that we got left on a comment of one of our vlogs. This one is specific for care routine of older horses. As you know, Echo will be 29 in June, so just around the corner. And we had a lovely commenter named Tracy ask if we have the care routine, specific things needed for regular body work, feeds and supplements, do we ride all year round, and finding these things are interesting. They live in Australia and have 2 older horses and a young one. So let's start off with feed routine. Obviously it's going to be very specific to the horse that you have. Echo's pretty hardy, I think. When I got him, he was on alfalfa only diet. I obviously wanted to start him on some supplements because he just wasn't getting ridden a lot, so he didn't have any work to keep him in shape. And I don't know. I feel like supplements are very personal. You choose what you think works for your horse. So I'm going to tell you the supplements Echo is on. So when I got him, I put him on Platinum Performance, just the basic level. And that is because my aunt swears by it. She's had horses for a long time. She keeps all her horses on it. She loves it. So I put him on it and I didn't see any negatives. I only saw positives. So that's why he's on that. Another supplement that Echo is on, which was recommended to us when we were having issues with the bumps on his back. If you remember, he had those hunter's bumps. And it was like losing muscle over the top line at the very back. And I guess it's kind of common for older horses, or can be. So one of the judges at our trail ride competition had told me to try out an amino acid supplement. So I got him started on the Purina Super Sport amino acid, and now if you look at him, you don't see his hunter bumps. So I've kept him on it because it did great work. Everyone that I've met says he looks great for 29. So another one that I just like to try different supplements. So one of the supplements I have him on right now is the 100X Flex Joint. This is for obviously joints. I just like to try different supplements for joints, see what works. We are on month 5, I think, almost month 5 of doing it, and I feel like he's been moving easier. One of the supplements that may have made it in a video that we have to do in winter specific because he has asthma, and the vet recommended putting him on this. It really helps his breathing, and then he doesn't end up getting so asthmatic to the point that he needs like steroids or anything like that, or his inhaler again, which that was a pain. The Anti-Hist H, and that's just like an antihistamine kind of powder that you add to the feed. Hay pellets, he gets alfalfa and Timothy since he only eats alfalfa actual hay. And then he gets a little bit of senior grain, and that's about 1 pound. I don't know. I didn't see anything wrong with it. It's your horse. You choose what you want. So that's what his feed routine is like. I realized I forgot to say that Echo also gets electrolytes with his senior soup every day. I just found he has inconsistent water intake, and I just make sure to get any kind of electrolyte powder that has no sugar added to it. So whichever one's on sale and has no sugar, that's the one Echo gets. And obviously I soak his hay pellets and his supplements and everything, and he gets fed that after it's all mushy. So he loves that senior soup. Regular body work. So this is quite interesting. I got Echo as a trail horse. He came from a ranch that did trails his entire life. And I've had a lot of ranchers and people tell me, who are in the horse world, that trail horses tend to live a lot longer, have a lot less joint issues, and that's just because you're typically not riding them as hard. So what I mean by that is, we're doing 3-5 mile trail rides 3-4 times a week, and they're not always hard, difficult trail rides. That's not to say that we don't do like the occasional fun thing like ladies' night where we're doing the fast events. But that is more just saying for Echo, I think trail really helps keep him young and limber. I had Madeline come out. She does myofascial release. So it's kind of like a more in-depth massage and a realignment kind of thing. And she said Echo was great, that he's actually very limber, and just the only issue that he had was his pelvis was a little tilted or something like that. And she said that trail horses tend to not have as much tightness in their muscles because of how they're ridden. So I think that really plays a part in him being young. So do we ride all year round? We ride almost all year round. We're from Southern California. The weather is rarely that bad. Obviously I don't ride in the rain, but that's because me and him will not like it. But yeah, usually we're gonna be riding anywhere between like 3, maybe 2 times a week to 5 times a week, just depending on the week. In the summer, if it gets a bit hot or we have a heat wave, obviously I ride him a lot earlier. And then in the winter, we're just kind of seeing how the ground is, make sure it's safe for them. So he's my first horse, so I only know how to deal with him. But I think that when they're older, you just kind of have to keep a better eye on them. I see him every day I'm not working, and then my mom sees him every day I am working. So somebody has an eyeball on him every day. And obviously he's at a barn, so there's always people who can look out for him as well. And I have a great vet who understands older horses. We did, one time have a chiropractor come out, and he looked at Echo and he said everything that's, hard or wrong or bad about his legs, limbs, whatever, that it's all due to age, and nothing that he's going to do is really fix that. So I've never had a chiropractor come out. He has a great farrier who has come out, the few times that he had an abscess, and we treated that issue without any problems. So I think it's just, just constant watching, ensuring that, you know what your horse is up to, and that's going to make a huge difference. So that is it for the older horses section of this video. I know that in the comments, let me go back to it, that Tracy also asked, she says she has a young horse as well. So I'm going to, eventually when Susan gets here, make her do a little blurb about Scarlett and anything special for her. Any more questions, let me know in the comments. I am always willing to help answer questions. I am obviously not a professional. I am just a regular old horse girl in Southern California. But let's get Susan out here and she can do her part.
Scarlett here is about 7 years old, and she doesn't require a whole lot of upkeep, but I recently did find out that she has navicular disease, so she's getting special shoes. She was on a course of NSAIDs before this for about 10 days just to help with pain, but she's doing much better now. And as far as supplements go, I feed her Biomane, which is supposed to help her hair grow, but she likes to rub it out all the time, so it doesn't really help all that much. And then she gets electrolytes just to replenish from sweating, because it does get warm here. We do ride all year round because, Southern California is pretty temperate, so it doesn't get too cold, doesn't really get too hot in the summer. So yeah, she's pretty easy keeper. She also gets like alfalfa cubes in her little puzzle thing because I like to keep her busy. She gets bored. But other than that, yeah, she's an easy one. Thanks for asking all these good questions. Keep them coming. Bye.